They say, the people who love the hardest often break the deepest. But what happens when love turns into silence? When you give everything and still feel like you weren't enough? This is the story of a person who loved too much and learned the psychology of letting go. Her name was Ayla, a soul full of empathy, always smiling, always understanding. The kind of person who remembered everyone's birthday, but whose own went unnoticed. She believed in people, even when they gave her every reason not to. She believed love could heal. But sometimes, love itself becomes the wound. It started simply. A text, a laugh, a connection that felt effortless. You know that feeling? When you talk to someone and it feels like they've known your soul forever. Ayla found that in him, Rayan. He wasn't perfect, but he was kind. And sometimes, that's all it takes for a lonely heart to build an entire world. Psychology calls this emotional mirroring, when two people unconsciously reflect each other's needs and mistake comfort for connection. She saw warmth in his words. He saw peace in her silence. And that was enough to call it love. But love changes. It doesn't always fade. Sometimes it transforms into distance. He started replying less. The calls became shorter. The laughter turned into, "I'm busy." And yet, she stayed. That's what kind people do. They hold on longer than they should, hoping effort will rebuild emotion. Psychologically, it's called trauma bonding, when love feels like survival, when pain becomes proof of devotion. One evening, as rain whispered against her window, Ayla stared at the last message he sent. "Maybe we need some space." Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, but she didn't reply. Because sometimes silence is the loudest scream. That night, she didn't cry because of heartbreak. She cried because she finally realized. She was the only one trying. Letting go isn't about forgetting. It's about understanding why something had to end. Psychology says closure doesn't come from them. It comes from us. It's when your mind finally accepts what your heart refused to see. Days passed. Then weeks. She stopped checking her phone, stopped replaying conversations. And slowly, she started hearing her own voice again, the one she had silenced for love. Healing isn't loud. It doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens in small, quiet ways. The first smile after a long time. The first morning you don't check your phone. The first song that doesn't hurt anymore. Psychologically, it's called reframing. Your brain learns to give new meaning to old pain. The same memories that once broke you start to teach you. And one day, you wake up and realize you didn't lose love. You found yourself. Months later, Ayla met Rayan again. Not in person, but through a memory. She saw an old picture, and instead of pain, she felt peace. Because she had finally understood that love isn't about holding on. It's about learning when to let go. She smiled, because now she knew you can miss someone and still be free. Psychology teaches us people don't break because of others. They break because they keep choosing others over themselves. Ayla's story isn't just hers. It's the story of every heart that gave too much, every soul that stayed too long, and every person who finally chose peace over pain. Because the strongest love you'll ever feel is not for someone else. It's for the version of you that survived. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes one story can help another person heal silently. Subscribe for more stories that speak to the mind and heal the heart.